Namaste students. In the previous session, we have seen the divisional and functional structures in the organization. As I said, there are different kinds of structure we follow, or organization or enterprise will follow based on the nature or activity which they carry inside the organization. Based on that, they follow. They may go for functional structure or they may go for divisional structure. And these structures are very important in order to get to know what is the line of communication and what kind of authority or what kind of responsibility we have. For that purpose, the structure is very important. We need to have one structure. Then within that framework, we can carry our work. Now, if we move forward, we get the formal and informal organization. These are the, we cannot say it's a type of organization, but this is one form inside the organization, that is formal and informal organization. Formal, when we hear the name formal means we know it should be there will be some rules and regulations which we need to follow, and we cannot behave as according to our wish. We have to listen to someone. That we call it as it's a formal structure. Then informal means there will not be any kind of rules and regulation. You can behave according to your wish. That is informal. There will not be any kind of formalities. If there is formalities, we call it as formal. If we don't have any kind of formalities, then it is informal. So same way in organization also, there is formal and informal organization. In the organization, there is a formal structure and informal structure in the organization. Don't get confused, these are not the types of structure. Types of structure only two, that is functional and divisional structure, which we studied in the previous session. Now here, formal and informal organization. In that, we'll go through the first one, formal organization. What is formal organization? As I said, in every organization, it follows some of the rules, regulations, policies and procedures which are very essential in order to reach their objectives or goal. It has to be there in the organization. Otherwise, we cannot call it as an organization. There is difference between organization and the home where we live. There is a lot of difference between organization and home. We cannot behave how we behave at our home inside the organization, and we won't behave how we behave in the organization at home. It is completely different because here there are some formalities. Formalities are nothing but rules and regulation or policies or procedures. Now we'll see what is the meaning of this formal organization. Meaning, it refers to the organization structure which is designed by the management to accomplish a particular task. It is one type of a structure which we follow. It is one type of a structure. It is designed by the management. The structure which is designed by the management in order to achieve certain goals. For example, if we take this particular institution, and this particular institution, yes, it is a formal organization and it is designed by these rules and regulation or formalities, how authority should flow, how responsibility should flow, everything is decided by the management. So it is one kind of structure which is designed by the management in order to achieve one objective or task. Objective or task. If you take institution, what might be the objective of particular institution? Its objective is we need to give a value-based system or value-based education to our present generation. That might be the objective. So what they do in order to reach that objective? They need to follow one kind of structure that we call it as formal organization. And if we see the definition, there are some definition. Here, according to Lewis Allen, the formal organization is a system of well-defined jobs. In that formal organization, there will be well-defined jobs will be there, and each bearing a definite measures of authority. The jobs like the principal you can take, or HODs you can take, vice principal you can take, or lecturers you can take. That comes under jobs. These are the well-defined jobs, each bearing a definite measure of authority. Each job has some of the authority. Each job has some of the authority. Authority is nothing but the right. These jobs, they will get some of the authority, means right to make others to work. That is our authority. And responsibility. They have some of the duties to carry. That is their responsibility. And accountability means they are responsible. Their end result, they are responsible for someone else. They have to show it to someone else. They are responsible for what they are doing. That we call it as accountability. So here, according to Lewis Allen, the formal organization is a system of well-defined jobs. System of well-defined jobs. There will be the jobs. If I compare it with this institution, jobs like principal, vice principal, then lecturers, these are the jobs. And having these jobs are having definite authority. They have some right. Because of their position, they get some of the right. That right we call it as authority. And they have, in the same way, they have some of the responsibility. Means the duty which they need to carry. And accountability, that for whom they are responsible for their work. That we call it as accountability. So this we can tell as a formal organization where there will be a well-defined rules, regulations, authority, responsibility and accountability. Now, if we come towards the features of formal organization, what this organization has some of the nature or characteristics of this particular organization. Now, it specifies the relationship among various jobs. It clearly states that what kind of relationship these jobs are having. It is nothing but establishing authority relationship. What do you mean by authority relationship? Authority relationship is nothing but from whom we have to receive orders and for whom we are responsible for. For your better understanding, I'll draw one chart. We'll take the example of any of the institution, educational institution. We'll take. Now here, don't need to go to management side. We'll see only on the teachers or lecturers side. Now firstly there it comes principal. Then after that there comes vice principal. Then there may be the HODs of different departments. We can take HOD of, we take commerce, then here we take HOD of maths department, then we take HOD of biology, then we take HOD of physics. We can extend to chemistry or any other subject. And under HODs, here there will be a lecturers. We can take here lecturers. Here also. Here there comes lecturer. Now you can see one formal structure here where principal will be there, and beyond this if we go, then here comes management and managing director, such kind of things will, administrator and all will come. We are not seeing on that perspective. Let us understand from this particular perspective. Principal, then under that vice principal comes, then here different HODs will come and these lecturers will come. Now see here by seeing this chart you can understand there is one formal structure and each has one particular job and they have some responsibility and they have to carry some of the duties. And see here, these are lecturers they are responsible for this HOD. HOD has to take care of these lecturers and they have to show their end results to HODs, and all the HODs has to show their end result to vice principal, and vice principal has to show their end result to the principal. So they have their accountability towards their superior. So accountability means they are responsible for their work. So if you see here, then see their first one, it specifies the relationship among the various jobs. It is nothing but, as I said, establishing authority relationship means from whom they have to receive orders, for whom they have to submit their end result. Now if you see here, clearly you can make out. This lecturers has to receive orders from HODs. This lecturers has to receive orders from their respective HODs, and this HODs has to receive orders from vice principal, and vice principal has to receive orders from principal. So this is it is very clear here. Authority relationship, it is clearly stated. In case of formal organization, authority relationship is clearly stated. Then if you see second one, it lays down rules and procedures which are necessary to reach the target. It lays down rules and procedures means they cannot work here according to their wish. He cannot directly go to the principal and he can speak about his work or anything. He has to consult his HOD, then he has to consult here, then it should go here. So there is one formal rules and regulation which is set up by the management. So in case of formal organization, there are some rules and procedures which necessary to reach the target. Why they have given rules and regulations? That ultimate goal is they have to reach their target. If there is no rules and regulation, then it is difficult to follow that or difficult to carry out their work. There will be lot of confusions, or there will be end result will not be what we expected. We may not get that end result what we expected. So there will be a rules and regulation which they need to follow in order to reach the target. The next one, integrated effort and better coordination. Integrated effort means nothing but under this institution there are many employees are there, and at the end what we do, we integrate the effort of all the individuals. Ultimately what is, we need to reach our target. What we do, we integrate the effort of all the individuals. All these employees, they are working towards the achievement of organizational goals. They are not working for their personal to reach their personal target or goal. In the inside organization, they are working in order to reach the organization goal. So here what happens in case of formal organization, it collectively integrates the effort of all the individuals in a particular point. It integrates the efforts of all the individuals, and there will be a better coordination. There will be better coordination means this structurally says that there will be better coordination, because there will not be any kind of confusions among the workers. Their authority relationship is clearly stated, so there will not be any kind of confusion. So we can get their better coordination in case of formal organization. Then created by the top management for smooth functioning. Correct. It is created by the top management for the smooth functioning. Smooth functioning means there shouldn't be any kind of misunderstanding or confusion or any kind of irritation when they work. For that purpose, they have given this kind of formal structure. If they do not give this kind of formal structure, then there will be a problem. If this vice principal has to take care of HODs has to take care of lecturers. If this kind of formal structure, if it is not there, then it is difficult for this person to handle that particular organization or to handle that particular institution. So it is for smooth functioning of the organization, it has given by the top management this particular structure of formal organization. Then it plays more important to the work rather than personal relationship. Yes, it plays more important to the work. It is purely for the purpose of work. Not to maintain that personal relationship. For example, this person has friend in this particular department. So he cannot maintain that relationship in the organization, inside the organization, because the structure is done only for the purpose of work, purely for the purpose of work. So it gives more important for work rather than their personal relationship. Then next one, last one, it specifies the boundaries of authority and relationship. Yes, it specifies the boundaries of authority and relationship. We know that what is this person's authority and what is his responsibility. His authority over these many people. His authority towards these many people and his authority towards all these people. So that is his authority. He doesn't have any authority to control this person. That is not his authority. So it clearly says it his authority to manage these people and his authority to manage all these people. And then responsibility. He is responsible for these many workers, and he is responsible for all these workers, and they are also responsible for what work is given by their superior. They have to submit it to him. So it clearly states what is their boundaries of authority and responsibility. So this is about features of formal and informal organization. We'll move towards what kind of merits and demerits this formal organization has. Now we'll see what are the merits and demerits this formal organization has. In that, if we see the merits there, first one comes, it is easy to fix responsibility. Here in case of formal organization, for a management, it is easy to fix their respective responsibility. For example, for management, to fix responsibility for this principal, the position principal only says what kind of responsibility he has. So it is easy to fix principal. Responsibility is to, he has to look into overall working of that his vice principal and also for the HODs and also lecturers. So that is his responsibility. He has to look into all these employees. And vice principal, what is his responsibility? His responsibility is he has to look into these HODs and along with that lecturers also. And also what is the HOD's responsibility? Their responsibility is of their particular department. Here HOD of maths, that department. HOD of biology, biology department. HOD of physics means head of the department of that particular department. So their position itself, it says their responsibility. So in case of formal organization, it is easy to fix responsibility for the management, what kind of activities they have to carry in that particular enterprise. Here principal's responsibility is not only to look into their employees, but also he has to look into the students also. That is also his responsibility only. But according to this structure, now we can say that their whole and sole responsibility is upon this particular person. So it is easy to fix the responsibility in case of common organization. Then no ambiguity. No ambiguity in the sense there is no confusion. In case of formal organization, there is no confusion. It is very clear that no ambiguity in the sense there will not be any kind of duplication of work. If there is no confusion, there will not be duplication of work. What is that duplication of work? Duplication of work, nothing but what work he is doing, same work once again he does it. So that we can say that duplication of work. But here there is no such kind of confusion. His work, he knows what is his authority and responsibility. So he will carry out, and he knows whom he has to order. He has to order these people, and from whom he has to get the end work. From these people he has to get the end work. So there will not be any kind of confusion. It's stated clearly by the top management. What is their responsibility, what is their positions, and what are their duties. So there will not be any kind of ambiguity. Ambiguity is nothing but confusion which is not clear. We call it as ambiguity, but it is very clear. So there is no ambiguity. Unity of command. Unity of command is nothing but the employees has to receive orders from one particular boss. Unity of command is nothing but it says employee of the organization, he has to receive orders from one particular boss. What happens if he receive orders from multiple boss? He will be confused then. So he cannot carry his work. He will be confused that whose order I have to take or I have to receive, and for whom I have to submit it. So unity of command says one employee, he has to receive orders from one boss so that he can avoid that confusions or ambiguity. So this formal organization, there will be a unity of command. So if there is unity of command, they can follow this chain of command, means formal line of communication they can follow if there is unity of command. So next one, establishing authority relationship. As I said, there is a proper establishment of authority relationship. Authority relationship means what is their authority, what is their responsibility, and what is their accountability. From whom they have to receive orders, from whom they have to submit. If you see this chart, you can clearly make out there is a proper establishment of authority relationship in case of formal organization. Then the last one, it is stability in the organization. Stability in the organization means there will not be, it is not like for a particular moment for 1 month they will follow this kind of structure and another month their structure will change. No, it is not like that. it will be stable as long as the existence of that particular enterprise or particular institution, they will follow same kind of formal structure. So there will be the stability in the organization. If we follow this kind of structure, then rules and regulation will not be changed. They has to follow same kind of rules and regulation, so that will be stable throughout the existence of that particular organization. Then if we go through the demerits of this particular formal organization, then firstly we can take delay in decision making. Why there will be delay in decision making? For example, we see the lecturers of maths. He want to clarify something, or he has some serious issues, or he has some other problems. So if we want to discuss his problems, or if we want to get solution for his problem, first he has to go to his HOD and he should discuss over there. Then HOD he doesn't have any kind of right to give him a holiday or anything. So he can listen to his problem, but he don't have any right to give any kind of suggestion. So then he receives that problem, and then he will go here and he will discuss with the vice principal. This kind of problem is there, what we can do. And even he doesn't have any right to give that final solution to this particular person. Once again he has to go to principal and he will discuss there. And he will give some of the solution to this particular person. And once again it has to come here, then he has to discuss with him, then he has to, and at the end it will reach to this particular employee. So what happens? There will be delay in decision making. Decision making will be very delayed, not only with the problem, or it might be he has to implement some kinds of ideas. So he cannot implement it, because before implementing it, he has to discuss with this. And after that, he will go here, Then at the end, he should give permission. And it will come here, then it will come here, then at the end it will reach here. So what happens during that time? There will be delay in decision making. Quick decision making is not possible in case of formal organization because of these lines of communication. Then next one, no recognition of creative talent. What kind of creative talent? As I said, here there is no importance for their personal relationship. There is no importance for their personal relationship. It is purely for the purpose of their work. When in an organization, we are not allowed to deviate. We are not allowed to deviate from this kind of boundaries. We will not get any kind of opportunity to show any other kind of talent. There might be, this person might be very, very creative and talent. It might be related to work. But he is not allowed to deviate from his pattern of work or what structure of work they provided. From that, he is not allowed to deviate. So when he doesn't have any opportunity to deviate from that pattern or from that structure, his talent or his creativity will not be recognized, because it is purely based on that carrying of that particular work, and it remains over there only. So there is no recognition of creative talent. It is because of this is purely based on work. This structure is given to carry out that work, not for their personal relationship, and they are not allowed to deviate from this pattern or from this structure. So it is not possible for the organization to recognize any of other additional talents or skills of their employees. Then difficult to understand human relationship. That is true, difficult to understand the human relationship. It is why, in the sense, as I said, there is no freedom for their personal relationship. If they give permission to maintain their personal relationship, then they can understand their human relationship. What kind of nature this person has beyond his work, what kind of nature this person has, what kind of qualities this person has. But here it is not possible, because it is mainly based on work, not based on their personal relationship. That's what, stability in the organization means they can maintain stability. In case of work, they can maintain stability. Their employee stability they can maintain in case of work, because they will be knowing what kind of behavior he will do or what kind of work he will do further, because they have to, at the end, they have to follow the structure itself. What rules and regulations they give, what orders they will give, that they have to follow. So they will be knowing that this person's work is this, so he will be stable for this kind of work. This work is going to do further, so they will be knowing. But about human relationship, this human relationship because it gives more importance to work rather than their interpersonal relationship. So this is about formal organization. As I said, formal organization, it is created by the organizer. It is created by the top management in order to achievement of particular task. It is for the purpose of achievement of particular task. It is created by the management. And what will be there when they create? What will be there? There will be well-defined jobs. And what are the duties and responsibilities of that jobs? What are the policies and procedures that particular jobs has to carry out? That we call it as formal organization. Formal means there will be a formality which they have to follow. And we have seen what are the nature or what are the characteristics of that particular formal organization has. And after seeing characteristics, we have seen the merits and demerits of this particular formal organization. There are lot of merits. It is easy to fix the responsibility. We can easily fix the responsibility over there. And there will not be any kind of confusions. Unity of command. There one employees will receive orders from one particular boss itself. So authority relationship we can easily establish here. Stability in the organization. We can maintain stability in the organization through that policies and procedures. But in case of, if we see the demerits, there are some demerits, that is delay in decision making. That is because of this formal lines of communication, there will be delay. No recognition of creative talents. They are not allowed to move beyond their work. So there will not be any kind of recognition for their additional talent and skill. Difficult to understand human behavior. It gives more importance to work. So there will not be any importance for their personal relationship. So difficult to understand human relationship. But at the end, when we say about work or achievement of any target or goal, we have to go through some of the formalities. If we do not follow any of the formalities, it is difficult to reach the objective, or we may not take it seriously. If there is no formalities, no policies, no procedures, we may not take it seriously. So that purpose, there should be a formal organization structure for any of the enterprise in order to reach that target.